take over
Sure.
for now?
Yeah, sure. So I'll get Hackety Hack back over here, and so what I'm gonna do is take you around what's kind of going on here, and what the power is here underneath the hood, and also what is quite clearly exposed. So, like I said, the thing that I find most fascinating about Hackety Hack is the social part of it. So when you sign up for an account on Hackety Hack, at a basic level, you get an account on the forums, and I mean, hey, they're wonderful forums. They're so good looking, and he designed them himself just for Hackety Hack, and that's nice. But more than that, you get your own, basically your own home base. And as a user on Hackety Hack, you have a number of things. You have, for one thing, you have your programs. So when we're here inside Hackety Hack, so if we start a new program, and we just have it do whatever we want. This is not representative of what I'll be showing. So we just have any random program, and we decide to share this. By Jove, an invalid URI error. That's because I haven't entered in my details. So I'll enter in my username and my password, 7 asterisks. I'll save that. And now it knows who I am, so if I share it, it'll send it to Hackety Hack, and it will, so right I have a few things already up here. I had something with a lowercase t. Now if I reload it, there's the one I just uploaded there. And so say if I were to delete this, actually, so it's very easy. If you want to get someone else's program that they've shared, you can simply download this, or even just open it. And what Hackety Hack has done is it's registered this particular file extension, hack-rb, and it will actually import it right into your software. So you can share programs, and you can. Now not only that, but you also share tables, and these are actually SQLite 3 tables. So they're full databases that you can share. And as it is right now, you have write access to your own tables and no one else's, but you can read anybody's shared tables. Okay, so what I'd like to do with this is actually start building some things with it. So he's given tables, and he's given the ability to share programs around. So one thing that the first thing that I thought of was using these tables to actually send and receive files to and from each other. But actually, before I get into that, I'd like to clarify a little bit about the what's going on here with the web library that Ryan mentioned. So there's a number. Basically, Hackety Hack is the sum of a lot of things Y has already built. So he's built hpcot, and he's built, that's how I pronounce it, and he's built Markaby, and he's built camping, which is what this is running in, and he's built try Ruby, which is also in here, sitting inside here, interactive Ruby ready. So you can use he makes this available quite easily. So, for example, if you want to make an actual web page, and he has this library, a web library, and he because Y is so fond of blocks, you just make a block, and if you give it a title, and that'll and we're already actually writing in HTML. Once you're inside this, you're in Markaby, and you can write any Markaby you want. However, he's given some functions on top of that will help out. So if I do, in fact, I'll wire this. I'll do this the Y way, and I'll wire it up to a table. So what I'm going to do is his blog in 6 lines. So if I'll wire this up to a table called my blog, and I'll just have a title to the page there, and edit line for title of the post, and actually I'm going to reference his lesson. Actually, and I don't need to go anywhere for his lesson, because the lessons are on the wiki, but that's actually not really the primary place you're supposed to use them. I'm sorry, I'm jumping back and forth here. It's just kind of a lot. But the lessons are actually built right in to Hackety Hack, right at the top. And once it's started, the 2 frames are independent. So we'll go to his blog in 6 lines here. which is beginning in lesson 2.
This was actually something that sort of appeared about midway through the beta process, that he basically had a lot of feedback and factored that in, and it just kind of real time, new builds would show up a couple times a week.
Lesson 1 is so long. Okay, that was great. Okay, so, and it was actually lesson 3. I'm just going to go to the wiki and do it there. Sure. So what I find the most fascinating about Hackety Hack, and the thing that I think is the most powerful, is the social aspect of it, and that's something that I definitely want to demonstrate to you in a minute, because it's not, Hackety Hack is more than just the piece of software itself, the executable and all that comes with it, but it's also like an immense infrastructure that Y has put up on the Hackety Hack page, and that he just maintains, and that makes it a community more than just a program. So when after Brian goes through his slides, I'll actually go and try to use that in a couple ways that I thought of just over the last few days, just to try to demonstrate how awesome I think it is.
In general, all the teachers in the room might know, but I think that's something I've read.
Really?
Yeah.
It was clearly the case in with, you know, like the W, the capital W. I can't tell you how many times that sort of burned us. You know, why shouldn't it be a small W?
I want to do this the right way. So you can simply have any buttons in here. Like all these things translate directly to HTML. And so if we were to take this and we were to run it, it pops up a light box, and we have a box with a title, new post, save, and so this actually saved it to the table. And so if we were to, you know, go out here. I can share this blog, and then then this blog will be here, and the entries are already in it. So let's take a quick look at the actual code here. So what, it didn't save. I must have forgotten to save.
You just hit run. That's why.
Oh, and I got that saved. Okay. Well, great. I'm going to actually go on to the lesson here, which uses a chat room. So there's actually one thing I didn't mention before, which is that not only do you have shared programs and tables, but you have shared channels. And I don't think he actually uses IRC as a protocol or anything. I believe he's actually, you have a particular table, that like an invisible table for channels that you work with. So I'm going to take his chat example, and I'm going to dissect it for you here. All right, so I'm going to take it as it is, run it here, and update this because he's since changed the syntax. Save it and run it. Okay, and just make sure to give this my name. So this is actually a. This is actually all right, so when we see here it says Hacker Klondike. So this is how you can reference a particular user account, and from there I'm opening a channel called test. There's a number of other things I can do. So if I were to go Hacker Klondike .load program and take any of the ones that I've shared here, like barter, for example, this actually imports that code into your code. It's basically a require, but remotely using code that other people have posted and have already written. And so it's just trivial to do that. From there, you can also fetch a table. So I could actually fetch my blog and display it. In fact, that's exactly what I'll do. Just show you. Blog. So I could take each row in the here. I love these things.
It is really engaging error messages that pop up.
Hot pickles. Yes. Unfortunately, there's, for example, if I check line 0 of my program, it's not going to actually locate me anything. Well, instead of debugging this, as there are some bugs running around Hackety Hack, I'll go back to the chat room here. So now I've picked the channel, the test channel. So complete this, and so voila. Actually, if anybody wants to, has a Mac and has a laptop and has Hackety Hack and wants to join me in there, you're welcome to. So let me take this and dissect what's going on. So first of all, we pop up a light box. It's using jQuery for JavaScript. Yes. I had not really known much about jQuery until I started looking at it through Hackety Hack, and it's actually a very interesting library. It's significantly more advanced than MooFX is.
Eric.
Yeah.
The guy that did.
I wrote jQuery.
You wrote jQuery. Yeah. Well, so far I've been pretty impressed with what I've seen. and definitely why it is too. He actually started off using MooFX in early versions, but he switched to jQuery, and also Talkity, the forums for Hackety Hack are also using jQuery. Okay, so running down this program,
Eric, I'm in there.
oh, cool.
That was John Messick.
Cool. And the so going I can't show you the, well, I can if I open up a notepad or something here. Okay, so let's see if I can fit this on the screen. Okay, so from the start, I'm starting the channel. Actually, you don't actually need to do that once ever for a channel, so this doesn't need to be in there now that I've started it for the first time. So it starts a web pop-up. It has a title called chat box at the top that just translates it into a centered H1 tag. It gives a scroll box. If you want. This gets referred to later when you hear a message, and by default its name is scroll box. I could call it whatever I want to, and it would do the same thing. So then I have an edit. This edit line gives a label because it says say, and then it gives an input field whose ID is say, and then it makes a button send. And when you make a button, you can just attach Ruby code arbitrarily in a block attached to it. And I'd be lying if I knew the exact implementation of that, but my guess is that it sets up it actually sets up code in the controller when the button is pressed and something is submitted. But regardless, when the send button is pressed, it calls say on the channel, and you just supply it a text, and the text that you supply is pop-up being the name of the pop-up, and you have by referencing it with bracket notation like that, call it with say, you get what was in that text field. So it's extremely compact syntax, which is, I mean, it's a learning curve of its own to remember all these things. Of course, if you're learning programming for the first time, it's not a challenge, and I would say it's easiest that way. And I think she would agree. So after you've set up the HTML there through Markaby and his own layer on top of Markaby, there is a helper here for just running, for setting a timeout to run over and over. So every 1 second, this will just pull a channel, which returns an array of all of the channels, or of all of the messages in the channel, not just latest, but all of them. And then it runs through them all, and it updates the scroll box with a message. Since I renamed that scroll box main, I would have to rename that main too. And so it updates the scroll box, labeled that with a message. So what I actually want to do here, oh hey, there's someone else inside the chat room. So now what I want to do is I want to modify this software a little bit. I want to make it just a little bit more like Campfire. So say if I put in a picture image, it'll actually just instantly render that image. So I'll just pick a random image. I'm partial to the Google logo, so I'll take that. So right now, if I type it in, it's just going to display that. So what I'd like, so you get my drift. So what I'm going to do here is I'm just going to, instead of updating this with a message, I'm going to write a translate function that will just roll over that. So I'm kind of, thinking of myself in like a kid's shoes. I'm guessing at where the message. Whoa, what's going on there?
You straight new line.
What was I missing?
The paren needs to be at the end of the.
Right, but I was the actual box. It's that like there's all sorts of white space.
You pasted it
Is it? Or did I paste it back from Notepad or something?
from the wiki.
Oh, that's why. I see.
One thing that would be neat if folks have ideas on for neat applications for sort of the high school to later high school, younger college age, that you actually could use something like Hackety Hack for. I mean, text messaging. Could you somehow build a little kiosk for text messaging or something like that? The kinds of things that kids in particular might do regularly that would engage them into the application and sort of encourage them to go in a level deeper and actually work with it.
Someone should implement logo in Hackety Hack.
I'll actually talk just a little bit about that before I'm done. So I just took some code which isn't infested with white space. A little easier to work with. Okay, so I'm here where I was before, and I'm going to translate the message. So I'll define this. But first, before I can do this, I need to know what is actually going on with the message object. So, one thing that I've taken to doing in figuring out what's going on, is just taking up a window and inspecting things. If you look in the source code to Hackety Hack, you'll see that he's defined inspect methods on almost everything you can think of. So for the purpose that you can actually see what's inside them. So if I have that's what I call it, right? Test. I want to see what is inside a channel object or a message object. So it has the name of the hacker, which is me, and the first thing that I ever said to the channel, which is hey the boss, and that's inside object. All right, so I'll use that knowledge to write this. So I'm going to take in a message, and I want to look and take what's inside that object. So then if the text ends with GIF or PNG or JPEG, then I want to return a bit of HTML that's going to embed it. And the way you can actually pass around random bits of Markaby and HTML using another helper bit. So that Y is written called web.bit. So I'll change the message to be just a bit of web, a bit of HTML. And in Markaby, that's going to look like that. I'll actually change the message. So I'll assign the message to be that, and then return the message. So now if I run this, right, and there it's already rendering them. And I see some of you were prepared.
That's probably going to be entertaining for kids.
Now, I'll take it one step further, and I'll see about embedding a YouTube video. So hopefully we keep this safe for presentation.
Under your control now, though.
Let's just pick some random video which isn't too big. Guy catches glasses with face. Very impressive. Very impressive. So I'll inspiration here, and be careful with what you sabotage me with this time. So I want that to end up being rendered into an actual embed. So what I'll do here is I'll update this, and so now I'll add another clause, and I'll say if it has YouTube.com/watch, and I think that'll be sufficient to tell. What's in there? Okay, and so now we want to make the code for this would be an embed with a source of a particular URL, which will require a small translation. So the URL here is what for an embed. I believe the actual URL is just v/it. Yes, that's right. It redirects, but that's still correct. So all I need to do is take the text and substitute watch v equals for v/, and that'll change the URL to what I need. But since embed is not a legal command in Markaby, I'm actually not sure of the reasons, but I'm thinking it has something to do with HTML standards. I'll force it to make my own tag called embed with that source. So that should be enough. Indeed, and then you have YouTube videos right in your chat. Now he actually has a lesson here devoted to YouTube, and what he does is he provides a video module which allows you to easily download YouTube videos and save them as FLVs, and then you can embed those using even simpler syntax. And so, he encourages you to work with video. Part of his manifesto is that downloading MP3s should be only one line, and that things should be dirt simple as possible, and that kids are interested not in making programs to parse through a CSV file, or to or to make some arbitrary program that they don't feel affects them, but to rather play with media, send people things, and do things with them.
I gotta say, the first time I saw the video pop up, which was just yesterday at a late hour of the day, I was astounded. I mean, it was just like the most incredible thing that I had seen in, ever. I mean, just having this sort of this. I mean, we didn't even have the cat and the burrito thing either. But but just having a video, and it was light. I mean, it was just the URL, and it was just like all real time. The other thing is that all this stuff is just connected, right? Whether it's wireless or over the net or local stuff, or you just can't tell. It's just all transparent. And so what you see is Y has built in this really rich library is an extension to the kinds of usual things that people do, yet it's real, true blue Ruby. I mean, it's a complete implementation. It's the full, robust language that lets you do. And Eric probably wouldn't believe that my 80-year-old kid was doing the same exact stuff that he was doing. I mean, it's just, But I don't know how Eric has sort of discovered these things. It's not quite yet in the written documentation, from what I can tell.
Well, there are a couple things that I like. The web.bit is not in the official documentation, and something else here. I won't write this out for you all over again, but the first thing that I thought of when I saw shared tables was that it would make it very easy for you to send files to and from other people, other hackers. So it's actually very easy to write a function which uses these tables as hosts for files. So this command to upload a file is 3 lines. I locate, take the hacker name and a file name that you want to upload, find that table. I just use a common name called my files, encode it, and then save it. It's right to the table, and that's it. And you can download it in much the same way. And I think actually that why anticipate something like this, because when the reason there's even an encode 64 function just available at root, if you were to look at like what I don't know the name of the object that I'm in here. It's got many modules mixed in. It's some sort of transmogrified object. But if you actually look at it, actually I can make this a little prettier. If you look at, like, he has decode 64 and encode 64. These are SQLite 3 database module functions, and they're just mixed right in into the main class. He has another function he's written called ask, which you can use to ask questions. So if I insert equals ask, this is going to do exactly what you think it's going to do. It's going to ask me what my name is. I'm going to tell it, and then it's going to print it out. And there's just so many things like that, and there's so many things just to play around with and discover. And so, I even can use, I can just combine the 2 things that I've just done, right? So I can now have this chat program, which is has the same things in it, and but now I've actually added, and obviously I did this beforehand. I didn't just do this magically. I've actually mixed the 2 in here, so you can actually send files over the wire, right, through a chat. So if I were to, actually, Chad, do you actually have that on there?
Yeah.
So if Chad, if you want to send me anything, like a small text file or something,
How about VMware?
that might be too big.
But I can use it. It's my machine, so send it along. Actually, so where does it send it? Does it upload it to?
So it actually uploads it. So if you upload a file, or using this thing that I wrote, I just picked the name my files, and so it just uploads it into a table. And of course, it's ridiculous to read because I encode everything with. But of course, you don't have to. You don't have to encode anything you submit into a table. I did so for just ignore that. Anything there?
Yeah.
What was it saying?
I just sent it.
Oh, you sent it? You just sent me a thing called file.txt. Okay. So in the My Hacks folder here, there it is, and it just appears. This is a test file. Is that what you wrote, Chad?
It's not. No, it is.
Yeah. So that's like it's in a very small amount of lines of code, and it was really easy to take that file that I built and just load this program in just with a remote require, and then I can just call these things, to upload a file in 1 line or download a file in 1 line, because I think in Wise World everything is 1 line, and the rest is just noise. That's right. I wanted to mention one more thing, because someone mentioned about logo and graphic stuff. There's actually a lot being talked about right now with why on his blog, on mailing lists, on the Talkity forums. there's a lot of different ideas that are going on about how to add the ability to play with graphics really easily into Hackety Hack. So the thing that some people are looking at is this thing, which I swear, this guy Nathan, he doesn't happen to be here, does he? This guy Nathan, he shows up on the Hackety Hack forums and he starts hearing about these, these ideas for graphics libraries. Sees this thing written in Python people are talking about, and he hears about Cairo, which is the vector graphics rendering engine for Gecko. And he in a matter of days, he writes something which is very compelling. And makes it really easy. This is actually, I think, even a little more complex than it needs to be. But it's still really simple to just draw, beautiful looking pictures. And that's the sort of thing that I think the community is moving to. Something like this, possibly even simpler looking, maybe more, I think it's going to be there, and it's going to be there soon. I know, there's also talk of introducing ways to play with sound really easily, and then there's some discussion about how much do kids want to make games, and how much do they want to be able to send games to each other and make things, and how difficult that would be. So there's really a lot of activity. It's a very cool place, and I found it really easy to hack into it and hack around it and play with it to make something which had some of the key features of Campfire, just like in a few lines inside an application environment in Hackety Hack. I thought it was great. Yeah.
I have a